Welcome, everyone, to the REEP Huddle. And we have a lot of new people on today, and we're excited to cover the topic of property management. So I'm your co-host today. I'm Jacob Garza, and with me, I have Yvette Davis.
Hello, everyone.
So because we have a few people on today, I just want to let everyone know that we have this once a month. And I believe this is our 20th episode. And this gives us a chance to share with you all the inner workings of investing in property management, or investing in real estate. Of course, we do that is property management. So the hot topic of seems like in the last couple of years has been property management. Yvette, in the days that we both have seen, we've seen the economies of investment cycles, and this is true, I think, with any investment. You have a lot of tailwinds, and it's the old saying that, well, anyone can look great when they hang their shingle out because it's easy to go out and make your investments happen. About 4 years ago, I was at a conference and someone had mentioned this is going to be the decade of property management. And I think they said this around 2020, 2021. And I can tell you the last 3 or 4 years, that has certainly been the case. Investing in real estate is still a very good place to park your capital. Mm-hmm. It's a very good place to grow your capital and get great tax advantages. But that lever of property management has really come to light because that is where a lot of the things happen on a property that you can go out and make your investment happen. And what surprises me when you start to take a look at a typical investment period of 3 to 5 years, our acquisitions team will buy these properties and spend probably 60 days, 90 days buying it. But you guys spend time managing it and operating that property for 3 to 5 years. So that's what we're going to cover today. But because there's so many new people on, I think it just takes a little time, Yvette, to tell you a little bit about yourself and how you got started at REEP and your career.
Oh, it's great. Thank you. Well, as I mentioned earlier, for those who weren't on initially, I'm Yvette Davis, and I have the honor and privilege of being the president of REEP Residential. So on our operations side, I've been with REEP just almost a year and a half now, Jacob. I believe we're getting close to that, which has been wonderful. It feels like I've been with this family forever, and it really is just a small part of my 30, almost 40 years now of my multifamily career. So the best part of my multifamily career in 40 years has been here with REEP. So I'm super thankful for that opportunity. But yeah, it's been, I think, as you were saying, Jacob, this industry has really evolved most recently over the last few years. And I think we've seen, really to your point, how folks have really understood the value of real estate investment. I don't know that there was really an emphasis on truly the stability of having real estate investment as we've seen in the last few years. And so one of the things that I think I appreciate with all the tenure that I've had in this industry is the fact that REEP as a whole does a great job of educating our investor partners and our potential partners about opportunities out there and how we differ and how we can stabilize their investment. So it's just been a great experience for me to see that. And that's important because that truly, I think what I've heard and just speaking with other management companies and investors as well, is that's not the norm. We would think that that's just the standard, that you offer these huddles, as you were saying, over 20 now, different educational formats and platforms for our partners. And one would think that's the norm, but it truly isn't. And I think that's important to have that level of education and transparency for our group. So
yeah, well, thank you for that, Yvette. And we're very fortunate to be able to bring Yvette on at a time where REEP is going to go to our next level. We have about 5,000 rental units. For you guys who are on new, we focus in San Antonio, Houston, and Austin. So Yvette comes at a really good time. She's got great experience managing thousands and thousands of units for some nationally recognized companies, and she's operated those. So we're very fortunate to have her. So, one of the things that people ask me is, how do you make money in property management? What's kind of the lever of when owners invest or investors invest in that? Because it's just not about collecting rents, is it?
No, it really isn't. I mean, I think that's, to that point, Jacob, I think, again, back to educating folks, I don't think that it's understood the level of that type of business that we're operating, right? It's an apartment community. No, it's a business. And it's very strategic. And for us, it really isn't collecting the rent or taking the work orders. It's protecting the asset against risk. It's what other opportunities are out there for growth and development? Are there new products available to us that can help property for stabilization, ancillary income opportunities, greater risk protection, reduction of cost? It's simply not just collecting rents. It truly is a business, and there's a definite strategy involved in that. So there's many different ways in this industry now that I have seen grown where we grow into different capabilities. Really looking into technology too, Jacob. I mean, I think, before there wasn't ways to monetize different parts of the operation aspect of it, right? It was simply, you did collect the rent and you might have cable available on your property and you use this particular utility company. That has not been the case for many years now. You can partner with internet providers, technology groups, the Google Fibers, the Comcast out there in the industry, to really focus and look at marketing specifically to your residents, to your particular profiles. And there's ancillary components available to our properties for that. And then just different looks at cost savings and opportunities for different growth. So it's a very diverse industry now, and you really have to be educated on what's available to us, and that's ever changing.
Yeah. You touched on something, Yvette, with regards to risk. And for you seasoned investors out there, you're going to know that insurance is one of the larger items, just below payroll, I believe, maybe taxes is in between there, that really affects the profits in a particular property. And I know our properties do a very good job to minimize and mitigate the risk. And not only when you go, and I'll let you speak to that on how we do that, not only does it make the property better as far as appeal and as far as people wanting to live there because of the things that we do, but when we go to insure or renew our insurance policy or go get a better quote, they realize that our in-house management and you guys do such a good job of mitigating that risk, and we don't have a lot of claims. That really falls into play. So let's talk a little bit about how you might do that on property as far as the risk part.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, Jacob, that is a huge line item on our budgets for insurance, right next to payroll, and risk mitigation is key. It's really in the education, right? It's the education of our teams, and back to running it as a business. It's not a property, it's a true business, and we educate them in that way. But it's really the process. So it starts with education programs for our on-site management team and our maintenance team. It's about how we inspect our properties daily, monthly, quarterly to ensure that we're compliant with all areas. Do we have any potential hazards? Are there any things that we want to get ahead of so that we can prevent and mitigate potential risk? It could be as simple as, wow, that branch in that tree looks like it's exposed a little bit further. We need to look at our landscaping, perhaps taking care of that. So, and we actually have programs that we put in place that analyze potential risk for us. And what I mean by that is we can input our property inspections. We can input potential risk associated with that. And it'll give us some key indicators that we want to focus on when we're doing our inspections, so that we always are in compliance with what we need to be. So our regional managers have a readily available dashboard that tells them the last time that this property was inspected was XYZ. It's time for this again. So we have a lot of systems in place, from our training and development to our inspection walks with our construction team, our construction development team, and our property management team, that keeps us compliant, and tools in place so that we're always mindful of opportunities to become more successful in that area. And then training and develop our teams to do that same thing every day.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I'll say too is a little bit of consistency that we're able to drive all the way across our properties.
100%.
I love it when our leasing agents go and there's everything the same. Our maintenance shops are all in order and they're all the same. So that just really just lends itself to that commonality, right, that you have at REEP, and that scales when you start managing lots of properties. And
it is,
yeah.
Jacob, 100%. Every one of our properties is managed exactly the same. So all policies and procedures are consistent 100% across the board. And that's important, but it's also important that it helps for our teams as well. So, you're working with people. Sometimes there's emergencies, someone may need to leave. So all of our teams, we co-manage. And what I mean by that is it's a one team, one score type of mentality. So all of our leasing agents and our managers and our regional teams are cross-trained. They can work on any REEP community so that we don't miss a beat if needed. And because of that consistency and our processes and procedures are standardized across the board, it's easier for us to do that if necessary, so that our residents are always serviced properly and we don't miss a beat if we have some type of emergency on with one of our teams. So there's many reasons why we do that, but you're right. And it's not only just general risk, the insurance risk, that every day trim the trees, those type of risk items, and to keep our operating costs low as well. But we also need to make sure that we're compliant with OSHA and all of these type of employment guidelines as well. So to your point, our maintenance shops are inspected on a regular basis. We actually have a schedule for that. And there are certain requirements that are expected for all of our teams, so that we're always compliant with state and local guidelines as well across the portfolio. So
you touched on something, managed growth, or what was that?
Co-manage.
Right? Co-manage. And then you said something about it allows our teams to scale and fill in, and everyone knows. That brings in an interesting point, because I was a few weeks ago on property, and someone had mentioned that they absolutely love working for REEP and they can see themselves working here for a long time. Well, I asked them, well, can you tell me more about that? And they basically did the same thing that you said, and they're able to take off. And people are able to come in and step in and take my role, and it's managed the same. And that they really felt like they had a place where family was first.
That's right.
But there was a system in place that helped them do that. And our turnover rate, is it 4 or 6%? I don't remember.
It's lower than that. Lower than 4.
Yeah.
Right now.
Guys, I'm telling you, people stay here. And I think that's these processes we put in place and the love and care we give our staff really makes a huge difference. And I think that all goes into, maybe start with the policies and procedures we have to put in place for lowering insurance. But what we're really about here is the care, right?
It is.
We give our employees in the structure.
Really, Jacob, it is. And I think that's too, as I refer to it often, is it's not an apartment community. It's our own individual businesses. But it's really about it's creating a career for our associates and not a job. We care about their personal and professional growth. And it's important that we put a plan in place for them to do that. And they see that, right? We have great events and we have a lot of team building, and all of those things are wonderful. But what I hear most frequently from our associates is that they feel that this is actually a career opportunity where they can, as you said, see themselves growing and staying for many years. They feel respected and appreciated, and it makes a difference that they feel like they're running a business. And that's not only our managers and our assistants, that's our, you know, our maintenance support personnel. We work with them strictly to see, all of our teams are educated. We just recently went through and made sure that all of our maintenance personnel had the opportunity to get additional certifications and feel like they also have a growth pattern. So it's not just our managers or not just our assistants or leasing, it's every person on our team needs to feel like they have a growth and career path and opportunity with REEP. And we do care about them personally, and their personal and professional growth is important to us. And that's one of the reasons they stay and what makes them feel different about this environment.
Wow, that really tells me a lot. These are how they get up with purpose every day, right?
Absolutely.
And there's something for them to come and learn and be part of and feel like they're making a difference. So I was looking at a report and have been, and I noticed delinquency. And guys, this doesn't happen often, but it happens more here. We have a couple of properties that actually collect zero.
Yes.
And the whole portfolio, and I'll speak to the whole portfolio, we really are collecting rents. And it is a little tougher today than it was a few years ago. So just kind of tell us what do you do to help us get there and share with the people online how that might work?
Yeah, Jacob, to your point, it is definitely a bit more challenging with the economy of the last few years and job instability and things like that. Really, a few things. It starts really at the very beginning of the relationship of the resident life cycle, right? So first, our teams are taught to educate our residents on how we pay, right? The car payment is no different than the rent. That's a priority, and we educate them on what our systems are and how that we are, what our expectations are. We provide them with many tools and opportunities for outreach and in the event of some emergencies, but it's really about the education process for them. It's training them, right, as well. But then talking with our teams about that, it's important that our teams understand not only their resident base, the job economy, what's happening in our markets as a whole, what judicial system or court area or judicial area they're in, and why is that important? Because although we have the same guidelines statewide, each judge acts differently on what their tolerance is for enforcing evictions or enforcing non-pays or encouraging residents to pay. So our teams have to understand that process as well. And then it's really a full-time job to stay on that. So it's not something like in many management companies like, oh, well, they haven't paid and it's the 15th of the month, we need to get on that. It really starts on day one, right? The first of the month, we're tracking that. We're making sure that we're compliant. The way that we manage our 30-day notice properties are completely different than the way we manage our 3-day properties for delinquencies. The laws have changed. Our teams are very familiar with that. In fact, we hosted most recently some seminars for our management and our regional management team with attorneys that are experts in our industry and know the laws, the judges, and what particular patterns that we need to follow. So it's a continual education process and how that works. And we are really very mindful of that. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're successful. In fact, very frequently, we have other management groups reaching out to us, asking us how we're able to collect in today's economy and market. And it really does start from the very beginning. It's a full process. It's education and development. It's knowing what our laws are. It's being out there. It's keeping our teams involved. It's our regional managers knowing all the potential changes in the guidelines. And there's been many. So it's really staying in tune with our laws and helping our teams be educated about that. And really, it's made a huge difference for us, Jacob, truthfully. And we get that question quite often in our industry.
So the holistic definition just really got a little clearer for me, because you said something, it starts from the very, very beginning.
That's right.
You know, it's kind of like saying, well, I bombed the test. Well, you didn't bomb it that hour. You bombed it a week ago because you should have been studying that early.
Correct.
This process actually starts right away at the tour process.
It starts exactly at the tour process and the move, and it's part of the life cycle of the residency.
Yeah.
And even to the point, Jacob, where we know that there are going to be unfortunate situations that happen in our residents' lives, right? And sometimes that's
Mm.
challenging for them.
Mhm.
We even have our properties have a list of local businesses, churches, associations that can lend a hand when there's an emergency like that, so that we're there partnering with them on potential issues like that. So it's really just a full cycle of how we start that from the very beginning and anticipate for
Mm.
potential emergencies so that we're prepared for that as well. It also gives our residents comfort in knowing that there are practices and procedures. That's not always the case with properties that they've been at before, and that in the event of emergency, we're there to support them as well. And so we get a lot of positive feedback about that.
Wow, that certainly speaks volumes. That's a real sensitive subject when it talks about rent and having to
That's
separate
right.
them from the property, and for us to approach it with such care and
That's right.
heart-centered, discussions with them. I think that's a real reason why if you go to a REIT property, I mean, you're feeling some synergy with Yvette and I. We work very close together. This is absolutely part of REEP. All of our employees, almost 200 of them, and it goes to our property. So we really
right.
build these communities, and there's nothing better than a referral from a referral. And next thing you know, we've got families of families living there, and that truly drives a special community. So, along the way, on our 14, 15 years we've been doing this, we've been asked a lot to manage for a third party, which
Yes.
basically means, manage for other owners. And I think we've been at a point where it's been very good for us to say no to that, and it's worked well. However, that has changed, and we are now offering third-party management services. And you want to tell us a little about how that might happen, maybe the fees or however that might work for you? I mean, you have a lot of experience with that.
Yes, I think, and just not only for myself, Jacob, but for our entire leadership team as well. We've all been very familiar, intimately familiar with third-party management as well. And I think I would say, Jacob, one of the reasons why we've had inquiries about that is because they can see a different approach that we have here at REEP, and how we have been successful, much more successful than many other management companies as well. So I think that's first of all why we've had that level of interest, right? And I think it's important to know, how would we differ, right? If you've ever worked as an investor, if you've had third-party management at any of your investment properties, I think what I've heard consistently over the many years is that there's not that same level of dedication to a property that's not owned versus a third-party asset. What makes us different, Jacob, is we really do evaluate each property with that owner's mindset, as if we were investing in the asset ourselves. So from the very beginning, when we're working with our partners, we're talking literally, we've walked the property, we've inspected the property, we've asked about goals, we've asked about hold time, we've asked about refinancing opportunities, we've asked about capital commitments, we've asked about lender obligations. We literally drill down with that potential client in our partnership, just like we would when we're buying the property. And most recently, talking with our third party partners, is that's new to them. They don't have that level of detail. It's, we'll go look at the property, here's what our fees are. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how this partnership's going to work, because we're looking at a long-term relationship with you. And once we put that professionally managed by REEP sign on the door, that's our community. It's not an owned community or a third-party community. It is a REEP community. And it's going to be respected and treated with that same type of care and commitment. And I think that is what we've heard makes us stand out, the level of dedication we do for that. And then it's really because we are so experienced in each of these marketplaces, and because we have more of that ownership mindset, our third party partners really believe that we bring something completely different to the table. For investor partners that have worked with third party management groups before, I mean, the biggest complaint I consistently hear is their properties are like, not considered as one of the herd. They're visited less. There's not a care and concern about that. And to hear, first of all, for them to see the level of questions that we ask before we even get to, are you interested? No, we're going to talk about what our relationship looks like first.
Right.
We're hearing it's just not heard of today. So,
Wow. What I drew from that is very early on, right? There is a process of transparency and
correct.
huge communication before we even talk about if we're going to do business.
That's right. That's right.
And early on, you're seeking an alignment, and we'll work to get that.
Yes.
To get that, and we will massage it along the way, and really understand at a core level, right? What motivates them on I'm assuming a financial level, what
Correct.
motivates them on a values level, what motivates them on their mission level, and kind of really understand that. And I think that's where the drive, if you would, or the match comes from the owner and us in order to manage their property. So we're really looking for the right fit.
We are looking for the right
Wow.
fit, as I said, as if it's
Wow.
our own personal investment. We take
Yeah.
that much care and consideration to the point where we, just like we do with our own assets, for each of those assets, there's a customized team that's put in place. So it's not simply, here's this property and you need a manager. Our team interviews managers, leasing agents, assistants, the entire staff to see if they're the right fit for that community, just like we do our own asset. And that is not the norm. It is a very detailed process and relationship building that makes us successful for our properties that are not directly owned by REEP.
Wow. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I certainly did. And each time I'm on the phone or on a call with Yvette or here in person, I certainly learn a whole lot more. And it really gets me excited about working with Yvette and even in the industry that we're currently in. So you have any other questions or anything you want to say, Yvette, before we close out? It looks like we don't have any questions just yet.
No, we don't. I mean, I think Jacob, we covered everything we'd love to hear. And I know you, Jacob, are the same as I. If there are any additional questions that come up afterwards, we're certainly available to meet privately and speak about our potential opportunities to partner together, and look forward to that.
Yeah. So I guess to get a hold of us, if they want to, is it We Care or is it?
It is. We can, what we'll do is send out some additional information to our participants as well. Jacob, I know we'll provide some of that as well directly.
Great.
And they'll have the direct outreach. They'll also have my direct outreach as well.
Awesome.
As you know, and but we look forward to hearing from everybody again.
Okay.
Soon.
Well, thank you, Yvette. It was always good chatting with you.
Enjoy it every time, Jacob.
You bet. Okay, everyone. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.